Hello and welcome. This is Health Promotion Practices Author Interviews, and my name is Arden Castle. Each episode will explore a recently published article and its author. This week, I'm joined by Dr. Joseph Lee, author of Perceived Importance of Health Concerns Among Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Adults in a National Probability-Based Phone Survey in 2017, which was published in February of 2020. This episode is focused on his professional career, which is just one part of a three-part series with Dr. Joseph Lee. Tune in to our other episodes to hear more about him and other authors. Without further ado, welcome Dr. Joseph Lee. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Of course. So on your website, I love that you state that public health is about justice, it's about documenting, understanding, and ultimately intervening to improve the quality of the lives of our neighbors, of North Carolinians, and of communities across the globe. Can you tell me more about your philosophy when it comes to public health?
Yeah, what I love about public health is it's all about thinking about how you diagnose and treat the body politic. So it's about how you work with populations. And to treat a population, you can't just prescribe some medication. You have to think about the policies that people live with. You have to think about the neighborhoods we live in and about how we can work to make those things promote health and well-being.
Excellent. I love that. And such a diverse perspective and, a systems perspective, thinking about how all the other pieces interplay. And you currently work for East Carolina University. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do there and how you ended up in higher education and building this whole philosophy to where you are now?
Yeah, I did not intend to end up as a professor, but I liked writing papers, and I had this great mentor in the master's program at UNC Chapel Hill who helped me publish my master's paper on tobacco use disparities for LGBT populations. And I don't know, that helped led into a job working in evaluation of tobacco programs for the state of North Carolina. And that was an opportunity with more data, and another great mentor who really helped push us all to publish and to do well with that. So that was before I even went back to get a PhD, and had at that point already all of this experience with publications, which is makes you look really good on the academic job market. So it was sort of an accident to end up in academia, but I thought, all right, I'll give it a try. And then I found out I really love working with my students and seeing them learn new things and supporting their careers. So I'm really glad I'm here. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Health Education and Promotion at ECU.
Excellent. And that is so exciting. I noticed how you mentioned the role of a mentor, and you've noticed that you involve a lot of your students in your research. I just wanted to touch on that you have kind of filled this role as a mentor and helped them get their research published. I wanted to know if you had anything to say about that. It's really exciting to see as, a current student, other like faculty members really cherishing those younger voices and helping us succeed in the field as well.
It is really one of my favorite parts of my job. And I had to count up for a grant I was writing. And at this point, I have 14 papers with undergraduate students, which is really exciting. And like, I don't know, it just sort of happened. Like we'd be working on projects together and then like they need to be published. So it made sense to really work closely with the student to give them experience in the publishing world, get some of the credit for it, bring their ideas and incorporate their ideas into the process. And quite honestly, I think it's made my project stronger.
It's really exciting to see the crossover between someone with a PhD and someone who's building their rapport and building their research base. It's really cool to see that crossover.
Yeah, I think it really speaks to like the more different perspectives you have in the research process when you're really brainstorming, hey, how do we do this best? How do we measure this best? How do we design this study? I mean, some of that, yes, is about the technical training you get in a PhD to do research on study design. But some of it's just the ideas. And so the more different perspectives you have, people in different places in life with different backgrounds and experiences, it makes it richer and stronger. That's sort of what I see in that process.
Yeah, I love that. And even connecting back to your educational journey. You have an undergraduate degree in Spanish and Latin American studies, an MPH in maternal and child health, and a PhD in health behavior. Those are such diverse fields as well. How did those play into your career path? And like you said, these diverse voices and kind of interdisciplinary approach, even within just your own experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I guess it's not a straightforward path, but it's worked out so well for me. So I was a Spanish major, partly because like it was a track where I had a lot of credits, partly because it let me study abroad and graduate on time. But what it's brought me was then an experience working in migrant and seasonal farm worker health outreach in North Carolina the summer after I graduated. And so that's 2004. And fast forward to 2019, and I have a grant from the National Library of Medicine working with health outreach workers for migrant and seasonal farm workers and trying to connect internet access and hotspots and computer technology to farm workers and their families, and just trying to bridge some of that digital divide or build digital inclusion efforts. So they really do connect all the way across there, even though it wasn't my plan. It just kind of worked out that way.
That is super exciting. And, along the way, you have developed so many different research interests, including tobacco control and LGBT health and public health policies. Has your calling always been towards these domains, and what drew you to public health? It sounds like you were kind of bouncing around, different parts of the field, but what really got you into public health?
Yeah, it was nutrition and anti-hunger work, actually. That was my introduction to public health as an undergraduate. And then that sort of got my interest going. And so I took a couple nutrition classes and some public health classes and started there. And then that grew into, and then I think that got me into public health as the first foot in the door. Then I went on with my Spanish degree and got into farm worker health, which sort of made sense with the language skill and the background. And it took me into tobacco just randomly because my plan was to keep going into that. But the mentor I mentioned earlier, who was really helpful in my master's degree, her research area was tobacco, and I was interested in LGBT health because I had just come out around in that time. And so it just sort of made sense to sort of focus in on that. And then that turned into a job and more stuff on tobacco, and it kept going. So I've sort of had this like gap in the middle where I went from farm worker health, got sidetracked in tobacco, which is a great field, and I really love my work there. And now have brought it back full circle to some of what started me out.
That is really exciting in that, over and over, we're seeing that it's not always a linear path to get to where you want to be. And, all of these side destinations are really interplaying with each other. And, getting grants for things that you studied in undergrad is just super exciting. I want to touch on the fact that as a member of the LGBTQ community myself, I wanted to know what it's like to be gay in public health and research and teaching in North Carolina. What does that look like?
It depends a little on which part of North Carolina. Overall, overall, I'd say it's been a really good experience. And the thing that is most exciting, I think, and maybe this connects back to something I said earlier, is that I think being gay gives you a little bit of an outsider view to our society in a way. And just that slight shift in how you see things and recognize things is really helpful for thinking about different ways to approach research problems and seeing things in new and different ways, and just being able to bring that to the table to add to the research conversation that's happening. Beyond that, it's been a good experience, like with my students, and I feel supported here at East Carolina University. So I have that. And then what I love also is there's like a connection back to the history of LGBT health work. So in the 80s and late 70s, there was the North Carolina LGBT health program based out of Durham, and it predated even the HIV epidemic. And it was a bunch of public health grad students and community members, mostly from UNC and Durham, working together to try to do stuff for LGBT health at that time. And so they came together, built this whole program, this whole nonprofit, and like I can still see little pieces of it, like kind of in our history that we're still, some pieces we're still working on, and some things are stuff that they really accomplished, and you can see the changes that happened over time. So I think of it as it's neat being a part of that sort of movement across generations to try to make things more equitable, more fair, and better for LGBT people and everybody else, really. So we have longer, healthier, more productive, happier lives.
I love that. And I love that it's, you don't have this deficit spaced thinking. I love that it's giving you a new perspective and it's offering you new insights and you get to be connected to this larger movement. Do you have any advice to give a young professional entering the field and maybe someone who shares parts of your identity that will, be a part of this future movement as well?
I think mostly just celebrate that. Celebrate your identities and bring those to the table for research and for thinking about research and thinking about the scholarship and looking at where the gaps are and the problems are and the ways we need to move forward in our research and thinking and public health practice.
Perfect. I love it. And then let's see, we are going to wrap up really quickly with a lightning round. So just a bunch of quick questions to get to know you a little bit better as a person. So if you could learn any language, what would it be?
I really want to learn French, partly just so I can better order things on menus.
Functional. I love it. What is your favorite season?
I'd have to say spring. I really like it when all the when you get the like rejuvenation kind of things coming up.
And then are you a cat person or a dog person?
Oh, I am definitely a cat person. There's even a cat sitting beside me on this desk that's probably going to walk across the screen at some point.
And then if you could have any other career than what you do now, what would it be?
I think the thing I miss in this field is I spend a lot of time staring into computer screens. If I was going to do something else, it would be something, I don't know if it would be food and chef kind of angle or a potter or something, but it would definitely be something that didn't involve staring into computer screens all day.
I think that's a fair assessment. And then what is something you read for fun and really enjoyed recently?
What have I been reading? I have been reading Where the Crawdads Sing. Is that right? It's sort of a murder mystery growing up story set in Eastern North Carolina. And it's been really kind of neat to see where I live now through the lens of this writer.
Very interesting. Well, thank you, Dr. Joseph Lee, for joining us today. And thank you all for listening in. And if you'd like to find out more about our guests this week, you can reach him here and always follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook for more author interviews. Thank you.